I know what you think. Will she ever have sex with me? And the short answer is, I don't know. Does this drive you crazy? 6 months into seeing each other, and we never went further than holding hands? Most guys would give up a long time ago. Will you give up? I picture how that would happen. One day you will stop responding to my messages and disappear without a trace. Oh well, I'm a big girl. I'll survive. I will write. I will write about how it feels to be abandoned. Then I will read my writing to women's groups, and we will commiserate with each other. I wonder in which ways a 59-year-old woman could be interesting to a 69-year-old guy. Myself, I never like pretty faces without something else intrinsic that shines through, even when our youthfulness is gone. When my husband was dying at 72, and his body was already completely ravaged by a neurological disease called reflex sympathetic dystrophy, RSD for short, to me, he still was so handsome. He told me that as a teenager, he would impersonate Clark Gable in front of a mirror, practicing in how to be irresistible to girls. Even as a dying man, he still had the eyes of a perennial playboy with no, oh, F you death attitude. I'm gonna enjoy myself. Come and get me if you can. That attitude, I think he perfected it by his early 20s. Although I did not know him then, but I read the letters of his then girlfriend. Mama, she wrote in a letter to her mom, today I met a Roman god. I will marry him. She never did. As it often happens, life intervened, and my future husband married a girl who he got pregnant. She became his first wife, and I don't think he was a particularly good husband to her, as I could gather from what he told me. They divorced. Almost 30 years later, he married me. But he never married that girl who wrote those letters. I know she loved him because I inherited those letters with my husband's archive. I'll keep them, as I keep my own correspondence with him before we got married. My letters to him from Riga, Latvia. His letters to me from Miami, Florida. We met in '92 through a pen pal magazine, a glossy black and white. You can say that was a Tinder of those times. He came into my life on a torn-off single page out of that magazine, given to me by a friend in Riga. His small personal ad and a photo with his Siberian husky dog was at the upper right corner of that page. I wrote him in my rudimental English. He wrote back. I think it was his second letter, in which he said, if you come to Miami, I know we'll get married. I'm a psychologist. I know when two people are good for each other. He was 54. I was 33, but still naive and romantic. I did come to Miami. We did get married, and we never lost interest in each other. When after 18 years he was dying from RSD, he still looked like a Roman god. Only now he was an aged and wounded god on his last battlefield. The neurological pain of RSD is so severe, it hardly gets reduced by opioids. He never complained, never became cranky or needy, never even thought of himself as sick. He expired in a mid-sentence, laying in his bed with a dinner plate in one hand and a fork in another. He was telling me a story while eating what it turned out to be his last supper. It took me 8 years until I was able to think of any other guy besides him. So, what was the question again? All right. Will I ever have sex with you? I don't know. But it feels so good to hold your hand